Checking the YouTube. YouTube looks good, so welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is Friday, the end of a week finally, and we are here mainly to provide support or answer any questions about our products or services. Otherwise, we'll spend that time filling the dead air with random stuff. If you would like to ask us any of those questions, feel free to jump over to foolishtechshow.com, and you can join our IRC chat in a number of ways, and you can direct our conversation and talk to us directly there. So how's everyone doing on this Friday?
Doing good.
Cool. Well, Phoenix is throwing out some links. Looks like the first one's Nintendo cracks down on Pokemon Go piracy.
Piracy?
Well, I know they had a whole bunch of issues with people downloading it not from the Play Store.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that. You're right. Yeah. It was, but that's because it was inaccessible for those regions of the world, and yeah, as you would expect, that has some consequences potentially, and it also has security implications. Although Nintendo probably could have taken a different approach with this to attempt to monetize.
It is just the APK going out, so you shouldn't be downloading it from those locations anyway, because all your phone information could be taken with those easily.
Yeah, we're never going to condone something of that nature, but I don't necessarily think he was suggesting that we're condoning that or that anything he was saying condoning that. But it's good that they cracked down on piracy with it. But I have a feeling that they could have, like I was suggesting, I think they could have monetized the people. In other words, there should be some sort of maybe user account or something in play there.
What are you talking about?
No, I mean to prevent the piracy of the.
There are user accounts.
Okay, so what are they really stealing?
They're not stealing anything. It's just a non-Play Store legit copy, so it could have been a modified version.
But that's just for security, but not so. So it's really
some devices. No, some devices and some countries can't play Pokemon Go because it's not available on their device or country, because they're allowed to set that from the Play Store. So if you can't get it on your device, you can go get a pirated copy and load it on that device.
They could just geolocate the phones and block it in that way. I don't know. There's I don't know. Anyway.
He also points out that the Ubuntu Linux forums were hacked.
That's big news.
Saying that right before the show, or right as the show started here.
I would have thought that they would have. I don't know who's maintaining their forum specifically, but I would have thought that would have been something that may have happened to other forums for other non-tech companies, but I don't like seeing it happen to big players like that. But there's always the weak human link in every operation, I suppose.
So we had also mentioned that currently, well, we haven't mentioned, but we were talking earlier that Turkey is currently in a coup. Michael, if you want to go ahead and explain to everyone that already knows what a coup is, what a coup is, feel free to go ahead and do that again.
Well, but I really don't.
To let you know real quick, that link that I posted is actually the Turkey president giving an interview via FaceTime.
Nice, the Turkey president, and
in the middle of a coup,
literally go gobble gobble the Turkey president, Turkish president, but yes, not the president of the national bird. It is. It should be our national bird. The eagle. It should have been the turkey. There was far more turkeys.
Hmm.
But that doesn't make us look as good, I don't think.
Oh, and Phoenix posted it right before me.
So parsing.
Well, you know what, Phoenix? Here's one that you're not gonna post right before me, I bet. This is Cheech and Chong's "Dave's Not Here." That's a pretty funny video.
Let's talk about something serious. I was reading into
That
these
is serious. They still
forums.
got it, man. They're like grandparents' age, and they're still funny.
Oh, I'm a big fan. I'm not. I've certainly watched the movies, and their humor is interesting. Um, but I thought this was interesting since I think my father is suffering from dementia and possibly
I think it's interesting
could
because
be
I feel you're suffering from dementia.
could be could eventually progress into something like Alzheimer's. But turns out that if you have this particular gene, the APOE, all in caps and then lowercase e4 gene mutation, yeah, I'm not going to say that again. Apparently, there's if you have that, they're 15 times more likely to develop Alzheimer or develop dementia. And apparently it takes effect, or the changes in the brain can be noticed as early as the age of 3. And so what happens with people with this gene is there's portions of the brain that are significantly smaller than they would be in individuals who did not have that. And that's, gosh, I just didn't imagine, but
He
they believe that.
invites Mike.
But they believe that early screening for that may allow them to do interventions, and even if it's as little as
Bueno.
educational interventions, to help compensate for those differences. But anyway, I thought that was really interesting and worth a little bit of a read.
Mm-hmm. If you want to see the guy that was the inspiration and technically is the actual dude from the Big Lebowski, that's him. And apparently they have like a Big Lebowski like thing where all these people come and like try to dress up as the dude and do contests and all kinds of things.
Oh yeah, White House is investing 5. Yeah, okay. So that link, they put some money down. They're kind of following in line with all the other countries we've talked about recently. 5G is being pushed pretty hard by everyone, and technically it looks like it's going to be an easy transition. The tower's already in place. The spectrum's opened up. They're going to allow it to be used for 5G, and we're ready to go there, and we're putting the money.
They need to get 4G and 3G everywhere
We're
first.
putting the money where the mouth is. Well, that's the thing. They I believe, and I could be wrong about this, but I believe that they're not continuing their rollouts, and they're gonna try to just completely usurp it and jump to 5, and not flesh out their existing 4 and 3G. But I could be wrong about that. But there's supposed to be a lot of improvements in 5G, and I'm pretty sure we're going to want it. The only thing I don't like is how the telecoms are in cahoots seemingly with our governments, and this is just another example of government feeding money back into this vicious cycle. And these guys are the primary players in legislation in Capitol Hill, and where nothing else in the law that ever goes through ever passes or gets agreed upon by both sides. It seems like they can both always agree on these types of things. And when it comes to those guys, I have big concerns about that aspect of it, not the technology aspect, not the speed improvement, not the usability and the end user benefits, but those things are my concern. Now, this article here that I just posted, I thought Brantley, this is my salute to you. It looks like the Raspberry Pi folks are coming out with a new compute module. They're talking about this as a smaller Pi 3, but is it really a smaller Pi 3? Isn't it just a replacement compute module for the original compute module they had? Brantley, do you know the answer to that?
I don't know.
Now, it does technically have like the brains, it's the processor of the Pi 3 that's in it, but basically it does not have a lot of the extras like the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi and all of that. It's a compute module, so it's basically comes in like an SODIMM type interface. So it doesn't have a power connector either, and it would be powered inside, so it would be added to another computer effectively. I don't know what the current demand is for that type of thing, and I, can't exactly see. I mean, if you have enough slots to populate this for a huge cluster or something like that, I can see the power scaling, probably virtually linearly, but I don't think you could. I don't think the density, of 4 cores, that's actually a relatively large bit of space for just 4 cores at 1.2 gigahertz or whatever they're running it at in this particular module. It might be, might be clocked a little bit differently than the actual Pi 3. But I don't know. I don't think this is really, I don't think this really should be advertised as a smaller version of the Pi 3 because it's not. If somebody with a Pi 3 right out there now cannot just purchase this and replace it, it's a completely different beast. Basically, you would have had to have had like an existing compute module project to use this as a drop in. So just be aware of that, and don't necessarily just read the headlines in regard.
I like the link that Phoenix posted. Microsoft is trying a new tactic. They're offering you a free laptop if you can't get Windows 8 to upgrade to Windows 10 in less than a day.
Oh, okay. I'm going to prove them. I know a ton of use cases where that'll come into play. Tons of laptops that basically don't support Windows 10, and the upgrade process will fail because it will not. It won't. It'll say processor not supported effectively.
Well, click that link and get some free laptops, Michael.
I just only have one really old one.
Is that the code thing that you were talking about that Phoenix just posted?
Oh, yeah, Code. Thanks for noticing, Phoenix. I'm a big fan of Code. I've been using it for a little while now, and I think it's one of the better editors out there. Brantley and I have both used Notepad++ in the past, but I was always impressed by Code in that it's slick. I like the way it looks. It's a relatively modern looking app, and it provides great benefits to programmers. Every key programming feature you'd imagine, including complete language interpretation, seems to be in there, and they're making it better and better. I usually find myself using it for a lot of JavaScript stuff, but it'll work well with anything, frankly. No, I'm not going to rip off
Mike Invise wants to talk about viruses. And is that different from viri?
I believe it is actually viruses. I think this conversation has occurred before. Viri, well, I would like to say that isn't accurate.
Viri is the cool way to say it.
Yeah, just like Charge, I believe it's the cool way to say that company's name, but
What?
Anyway.
Charge?
Target.
Oh, Target?
Yeah.
You can say that. It's not the cool way to say it, but you can say it.
I think it's a cool way to say it.
It's definitely not.
Oh, yay, Eric! Thank you for joining us on this Friday. I know it might be a little bit late for you if you've been in there since the AM, but
hey, look!
Thanks.
They came out with a Pokemon Go-like demo for the Hololens that is dangerously close to making me want to get a Hololens, even though they're $3,000.
Did you? Let's see. I didn't finish posting my news stories. What was I going to talk about?
Maybe with that, people won't walk off cliffs.
So I thought this was cool. Now you do know that there's some crazy laws in some Middle Eastern countries. But wouldn't it be great if you were ever insulted online and you could get somebody put away for 3 months for insulting you? That's an Emirati man, and I guess I didn't know that actually. The way I guess you say someone from the United Arab Emirates is Emirati, And NVIDIA put out a new VR game. I don't really want to talk about it. They just it's like a tech demo. But if anybody wants a link to that, let me know. Let's see. There's some. No, I don't want to talk about that either. Oh, where's the good happy news I was reading earlier this morning? Oh, come on. What do you got, Brantley?
What do you got?
Well, I thought I had something else, but apparently not. There's a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk about this morning. Only the dark web.
Oh, whoa! There was a Nintendo 64 that allowed you to have disk drives.
Show me. I want to see that link.
It was a prototype, and they found one in Seattle.
I mean, I can see that. There was for internal testing and other things, they oftentimes debate on what type of platform, what type of storage device to use. There was a time when, people used cartridges primarily. There's times when you use disc primarily, and there seems to be some back and forth between the two. And so it's not uncommon for, I believe, for these types of things to be seen, even in early. You do know that the original Nintendo had a disc system as well. Double-sided, like almost like floppy disks. I mean, they were like floppy disks.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, yeah. I mean, and they're rare pieces too, just like those are the ones I'm referring to. But they're not that uncommon.
Still, an N64 with a disk drive. That's awesome. I want 2 of those, so that I can use the disk drive for something.
It was actually released in Japan, but after poor sales, they didn't release it in the U.S.
Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff is taken up in Japan, and sometimes things that are not a success in this country are successes in Japan. I thought that was interesting when I was doing research into these types of things. Consoles and particularly retro type stuff. Looks like Microsoft's going to miss their billion installation mark by mid-2018. I believe it was a self-imposed deadline, so it's not really that big of a deal. But despite their headlines about the quick adoption and the record numbers and all this other stuff, they're going to miss their own deadline.
Hey, you really
did I
can.
actually post the article? I didn't post the article, did I?
Nope. You really can play Pokemon Go on a Windows PC. And that one actually might be even better because you can spoof your location with it. So you can just play anywhere in the world without having to go anywhere. I'm sure you could set up bots and stuff too from that way.
I knew I should have written down what I was going to talk about this morning.
Yeah, what were you going to talk about this morning, Michael?
I know I had so much good things to discuss. Oh, I want to make an announcement. We're going to have some of you have had expressed concerns with the performance of Crypto Prevent applying the protections, and we took that to heart, and we made a couple of changes, and we believe will provide a very massive improvement. I think we took it for granted. We have a lot of SSDs in our test beds, and we didn't take into consideration sometimes or the mechanical hard drive. I guess we're a little bit spoiled here, and so our apologies for that. But for all you home users out there who may be using the Crypto Prevent 8 beta with a standard hard drive and are very frustrated by the sometimes excruciatingly long application of the policies, we've got a solution for you, and we'll hopefully have that out in the next couple of days.
Mm-hmm. Pokemon Go with the drone. I've seen that one, Eric.
come on. We had a good week here. Let's not do cold slope Friday. And I want to give a shout out, of course, to ours. Now, this is a little bit more just human interest, I guess, a story. Well, not really a historic story, let's say. And if you have any interest in space and older politicians, this one's for you, folks. It's basically something that I didn't know, but apparently the shuttle was undergoing a bit of a budget crunch, and it was maybe I guess it was under some jeopardy for funding and other stuff. I didn't go and read it all in detail, but looks like Carter had a play in saving it. And as I recall, I think Mondale, his vice president, was very anti-space. So I'm really fascinated. I want to read more into that story and see what happens. And if you guys, I'm not going to go into the politics aspect of this, but if you guys are not up to date about it, as usual, another in-depth Ars discussion on the Clinton email saga. And that's another really good read. And they don't focus on the politics on that site. So it's just more of a technical analysis of everything, and I appreciate their objectivity. So I think it's worth a read.
That's an awesome Lego set. It makes you a personal pan Pizza Hut pizza. I would totally buy one of those.
Oh, it looks like looks like a lot of I don't actually see this. They're doing porn filtering at public Wi-Fi hotspots in restaurants.
Yeah, did we talk about that yesterday or day before?
Did you? How do they do it? How are they doing it?
Who is doing what?
Content filtering.
Just regular content filtering. I don't know, because I was reading another story about an ISP in Britain or ISPs in Britain that were turning, or I think it was Britain or somewhere, that were turning on porn filtering by default, and you couldn't necessarily. I don't think you could. I think you'd have to opt out or do something to get access to it. I didn't know of any ISPs ever doing that before, so. Come on, keep the chatter going, guys.
What?
Keep the chatter going.
What's going on? What's happening?
Oh yeah, the Mythical Ness CD-ROM drive. Yeah, I saw that now. That's another good article. Thanks for that, Brantley. I don't know for anybody of your customers out there, for our tech owners and tech workers out there, if you've got any customers out there who are relatively low income, Comcast apparently has got some good options for them. I don't know if this affects any of the communities you may serve, but might be worthwhile to be aware of it.
Mm-hmm. Windows 10 won't hit 1 billion devices by 2018. Shucks. Windows 10 is about to be done, people. If you haven't gotten your free upgrade, go get it now. We know how everyone loves it.
And the 29th is the deadline. But if you're like me, you've got a whole lot of product keys you've got to convert, so get to it.
Yeah, I need to get to work on that.
Oh wow, Juniper Networks customers were affected by a bug that failed to catch self-signed certificates. That's a huge. I mean, I mean, like, every web browser in existence will warn you about that.
Hey, Eric, you can use Field Tripper or Ingress, and it'll also alert you to the vicinity of Pokestops or gyms. Field Tripper would probably be the best one because you can have it pop up and alert you anywhere.
Brantley, that's why that's why the telcos are so keen on 5G. It's because they can give up supporting their legacy phone networks. They can do away with copper.
Oh. Are they, though?
That's a good question, but they apparently will have
And how do they think they can do that when I am in my house right now and I have 1 bar of 4G service?
I agree that could be problematic, but obviously they would want to go that route for cost savings on their end. So I'm not saying this is in the best interest of the consumer because I don't believe that it is, but now I'm starting to understand why they're so involved in the government. It's all fallen into place, Brantley. You do see it, don't you?
What?
It's the NWO and all that, New World Order and all that conspiracy stuff. They might be right. If you have any people that are late to programming, apparently Swift is Apple's rapid platform for rapid application development, and Swift has received a large amount of attention, and it's anytime there's an educational push, I think it's a good thing. And I know they're getting kids to basically, or new developers to basically write software for the devices, helping promote the sales of those devices. So it works both ways, but I do think it's a good skill for the children and adults alike to have, frankly. So get on board now. If Apple's not your thing, there's been other projects in the past. I don't know. I've tried to talk about them, but I'll try to find a couple of others related to that if I can in the near future. But I believe there's similar news from companies like Google and others, and Microsoft. So.
All right.
Oh, that's interesting.
What's that?
The amount of energy needed to run the world's economy is decreasing on average. Wow, that's good. I think we've been wasteful at times in the past with our overabundance of certain resources, and that's had consequences for our environment and for the lives of millions, if not billions, of people. So it's good to see a different turn in things. It's good to see a focus back on efficiency. It's good to see a study like that, a report like that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to say study, that implies but it's based on data though, so it could be interpreted one way or the other. But I believe it's a good sign. I'm running very low on steam here today. It's been a long one. We get a little bit tired on Fridays because we do the show a little bit later, but sorry about that. If you guys want to
talk it up, talk about all Phoenix's links.
Okay, yeah, so Pentagon cyber bombs against the Islamic State aren't working. Well, that's no surprise because we have, like 5 people working on cyber affairs in our government, and I doubt they'd be able to accomplish anything. There's just not a large enough staff from what I've read. Until more funding goes that way, or until the departments gets larger until there's more staff, until there's more talent, until they work closer with actual commercial entities. I don't think that's going anywhere. But that's just an opinion, and I've got a lot of them. OSX reduction in window clutter. It's so interesting. Like all the stories that were published in like PC Magazine going back for decades, and now I see these stories like for Macs, about things I remember. It's funny. And this happens cyclically, doesn't it? And isn't there always like a desktop clutter reduction article out there? I guess it's a side effect of just GUIs in general. It's not really, I guess, operating system specific.
Hey, so XKCD came out with its 4th generation phone today. There's generation 1, generation 2, generation 3, and the latest and greatest one, today's generation 4. Plenty of headphones to go around in their latest one.
Oh, and I was wondering when they'd build in a parallel port again.
12 headphone jacks. That's how many you need.
Well,
and a subwoofer on my phone.
You do understand why the comedy in that, though. It's because everyone's talking about removing the
headphone jack, yeah.
Headphone jack from the phones. But the headphone jack is actually used for more than just headphones, and so the simple.
Phoenix, have you never seen XKCD? Because that's what that link is. It's a fairly clear domain.
Oh, Eric, thank you so much for the link on Star Trek and Archer. I'm a huge fan of both of those series, and any combination of them would just be perfect. And I can already say, Star Trek. Of course, I was going to say, like, how could they do the original series? But it's not the original series; it's the original animated series. Star Trek: The Animated Series. It was such a good show. I really thought had very high production value. I highly recommend anyone who hasn't already seen it, who's a Trek fan, to view it. Let me see if I can get a link for you about it. Oops, the animated series. Here we go. So, yeah, Eric, there's the oh wow, they got a box set picture on IMDb for it, but that had the original cast, and so this was this basically went, I believe, was it the same years? Did it overlap? Yeah, it overlapped. I believe the actual show. But amazing for its time, and I thought the stories were could have been in the actual if they turned these episodes into real episodes. I would have liked to have seen it. Anyway, I'll stop ranting about that, but that's a good show. One Punch. No, I haven't seen One Punch. Phoenix. Use WAMP to install WordPress on local computer. Why? Phoenix, why?
Mm.
Okay. Let me get back to what I was looking into. Oh crap! What happened? Oh.
What happened?
Nothing. I was.
What happened? Tell us what happened, Michael. Michael, what happened?
Anantech published their second part of an article that I was reading. I don't think I may have posted this before, possibly, but I had mentioned the Athlon X4 845 processor. Again, nothing AMD's missed their heyday with processors, but I do like architectural analysis. I do, even if somebody did something wrong, it's nice to talk about the mistake in depth, and it's not all that flawed. And I think for the price, it's a very solid performer. But particularly with its overclocking abilities and a lot of other factors, good for gaming, things of that nature. But that's that. Again, I don't necessarily recommend you, unless you're talking about a budget build, that you use something like this as the core of a build. But anyway, I'm kind of like in that just for the technical deep dive into it. So take a look at that.
Oh wow, there's a wiki that explains all of the XKCDs. That's very interesting.
Yeah, and if you guys didn't already know, I've been a big fan of this video card war that's going on right now between the next generation of both NVIDIA and AMD, and I believe I'm actually going to go with this guy, the GTX 1060 that they're releasing in 4 days. Looks like it's from the early benchmarks that are out and the specs that they've released. It appears as if it's going to best AMD's card, and by actually a decent percentage. And it's only going to be $40 to $50 more expensive, and they got room to wiggle. It's a cheap and slender design, and I really don't think AMD's got anything on the board now to compete.
What's the price point on that, Michael?
The price point is $249. The price point of the 480 with 8 gigs, which is the one you want, which is the highest performing one. They have a 4 gig version that runs a little bit slower, but it's basically I believe $219 or $229. I can't remember, something like that. So the price is virtually identical between them, and you're getting more performance with this, and it's just a better architecture in a lot of respects. The only thing AMD could have won out on at this point in time would have been price. And if AMD, or excuse me, if NVIDIA had delivered the 1060 as a sub-performing part, if it performed less than what it does. So I think that's going to be my next card. I'm still waiting.
Wow.
Holding out for those third-party designs on the 480s from AMD, but
Hey,
I don't
check this out. This is from our friend Tim at Squatting Dog Development. He's got it set up so he tracks how many uninstalls the uninstaller performs with his plugin. And there's been over 1,200 uninstalls in 45 days.
Nice.
So,
get removing. Get all that preloaded crap. Get removing.
Yeah, and if you use LabTech, you can use that plugin and uninstall stuff automatically with the uninstaller. Or you can get a premium copy from us and uninstall them automatically yourself via command line script or something to that effect. So, or it comes in D7.2, so you can automatically uninstall whenever you perform those operations.
I think Phoenix knows we're a fan of, or at least John's or Nick's a very big fan of the Ubiquity line of products there. And while we usually talk about their Wi-Fi products, Phoenix mentions that they've got a $50 router, and I've used some of their routers in the past that are a little bit more difficult to set up than the traditional consumer router, but they do have a good feature set, very strong feature set, and they're solid devices from what I've seen. So I kind of agree with his recommendation there, and the price point, $50 for those types of features, power over Ethernet, pretty much can't be beat, I think. So take a look. They're advertising 99.99% uptime, gigabit Ethernet, and their Edge OS, which is a big improvement for the interaction with it. Again, it's a little bit more complicated than the traditional consumer versions, but it's there for a reason, and I think it's a good device. So try it out. never used it, of course. I'm just speaking off the top of my head, but based upon what I've seen from their other routers and my past experience with them as a hardware manufacturer, and Nick with his feedback, I think that's a valid conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to knock the LabTech people. You can use LabTech in conjunction with D7.2. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. They're not one or the other.
Two different scenarios, actually.
Yeah, almost completely different scenarios. I can see MSPs employing LabTech and also using D7.2 for different use cases. Do we have anything else? Let's see. We're not even up to our time yet.
Yeah, that's all I'm seeing.
Thanks for the support, Phoenix.
Apparently, there's a place that you can look at stars really well if you're close by on this map. I don't think I am.
Did you hear this? I thought this was surprising. I read this a day or two ago. I thought, or a day ago maybe. But so the Federal Deposit Insurance, the FDIC,
FDIC.
that insures your money. They were hacked by China, and it was, and this went on for years, and repeatedly between 2010 and 2013, and it was basically covered up till now. They were never reported to CERT, U.S. CERT, or other authorities, and it was only in response. It was only brought to light after the Inspector General investigation into other breaches to turn this up. It sounds horrible. Our government. It's hard to believe we're in the lead. Not yet at the 8.1 install, but Windows Update Mini Tool. And okay. Yeah, the Mini Tool. Let me go back to that.
Oh, did y'all see the thing about the France terrorist alert app?
Oh yeah, it took 3 hours or more to notify the people of the problem after it had happened. Yeah, that's a good criticism. If you're going to have a system like that in place, it better work.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's unfortunate, but that happens, I think, all too often. It sounds like a really good idea, and then they say, okay, that's your job, and it never gets done. So basically somebody manually, being told to, oh, by the way, did you guys update the alert app for that attack that happened a few hours ago? Oh, shit! That's probably what happened.
Mm-hmm. Well, if we don't have much more, why don't we go ahead and wrap her up for today? Unless anybody has any questions about T72 or Crypto Prevent or G-Support Suite. We'll give you 3 minutes to respond since Glenn said he's got a 3-minute lag today. Oh boy. Another CP update will be out in a few days. There was one yesterday, but this one will have some performance improvements in it.
Yeah, so if you guys didn't know, there was another release. Was it just yesterday? Um,
Yep.
Mm.
okay, so and that was prior to this performance edition. So yeah, we're moving along quite rapidly. So maybe we'll have some more good stuff for you to share with you guys. But we do appreciate your patience and thank you so much for sticking around. And we'll have something for you. We haven't forgotten. Um, is it only for the beta or RT? I mean, it's gonna the performance improvement, if that's what you're talking about, is gonna be yeah, absolutely. It's gonna
The beta version is going to do it, and then RTM will contain what the beta.
yeah, the RTM is the release to manufacturing, and that would be probably usually considered to be the final release version of the product. And
That was a good link, Eric.
continue that tradition.
The dogs.
What do you mean an old SNL skit? How old? What's your definition of old, Eric? Let's see. Oh, 80s, late 80s, early 90s, early 90s.
Let's see.
Yes, 90s. I was in high school probably when that was being made. Interesting though, but looking
Jeez,
back,
David Spade is young.
it's 1993 actually. So I was, ooh, I take that back. I was late middle school.
Not the version 7 Phoenix, not yet. Just the beta one. But that eventually will be pushed out to, what is it, 7 right now. All right. Well, we gave him 3 minutes. So, we got anything else? Going once? Going twice? All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back on Monday at 8 a.m. We'll see you all then. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Sorry we're so tired today.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Take care. Laters.